The power of if, conditionals made easy with examples. Basic if condition. Use. Used for real or possible situations. Zero conditional. If plus present simple, present simple. First conditional. If plus present simple, will plus base verb. If you heat water, it boils. If it rains, the grass gets wet. If you mix red and blue, you get purple. If she studies hard, she will pass the exam. If I eat too much, I feel sick. If you press the button, the machine starts. If we don't hurry, we'll miss the bus. If you don't water the plants, they die. If he touches the fire, he gets burned. If the sun sets, it becomes dark. If you run fast, you get tired. If I go to the market, I'll buy vegetables. If they arrive early, we will start the game. If she works late, she will be tired. If you don't wear a coat, you'll feel cold. If I call him, he answers quickly. If we save money, we can travel. If the dog barks, someone is at the door. If the alarm rings, I'll wake up. If you don't study, you will fail. If the baby sleeps, I can rest. If the light turns green, we'll go. If he eats nuts, he gets an allergy. If we cook together, it's fun. If the train is late, I'll take a taxi. If plus past simple. Use. Imaginary or unreal situations in the present or future. If plus past simple, would plus base verb. If I had $1 million, I would travel the world. If she were taller, she would be a model. If I knew French, I would live in Paris. If it rained tomorrow, we would stay home. If I were you, I would take the job. If he studied more, he would get better grades. If I had a car, I would drive to work. If we lived near the beach, we would swim every day. If he were stronger, he could lift it. If they invited me, I would go. If I knew the answer, I would tell you. If she cooked, we would eat at home. If the internet worked, I would send the email. If it snowed, we would build a snowman. If I felt better, I would go to school. If we had more money, we would buy a house. If she spoke slowly, I could understand her. If I were rich, I would help the poor. If they were honest, people would trust them. If he didn't smoke, he would be healthier. If she studied medicine, she would be a doctor. If I had more time, I would learn guitar. If the bus came on time, I wouldn't be late. If I saw a ghost, I would scream. If we played well, we would win the match. If plus past perfect. Use. For imaginary situations in the past, regret or hindsight. If plus past perfect, would have plus past participle. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the test. If she had left earlier, she wouldn't have missed the train. If we had booked the tickets, we could have gone. If he had apologized, I would have forgiven him. If it had rained, the plants would have grown. If they had listened, they wouldn't have failed. If I had seen you, I would have said hi. If you had helped me, I would have finished earlier. If he had practiced, he would have won. If I had known, I would have come. If we had gone to the party, we would have had fun. If she had cooked, we wouldn't have ordered food. If I had brought an umbrella, I wouldn't be wet. If the alarm had worked, I wouldn't have been late. If he had called me, I would have answered. If I had saved money, I could have bought the dress. If the teacher had explained, I would have understood. If they had not fought, they would have stayed friends. If I had remembered her birthday, she wouldn't be upset. If it had snowed, school would have closed. If she had told the truth, she wouldn't be in trouble. If we had met before, I would have recognized you. If the car had worked, we could have driven there. If I had worn my glasses, I would have seen better. If they had studied history, they would have known the answer. Mixed conditionals. Use. Mixes time frames. Often. Past condition plus present result. If I had done, I would be. Present condition plus past result. If I were, I would have. If I had taken the job, I would be rich now. If she had studied medicine, she would be a doctor now. If I were smarter, I would have solved the puzzle. If he were here, he would have helped us yesterday. If I had listened to you, I wouldn't be in this situation now. If it weren't raining, we would have gone hiking yesterday. If I had not spent all my money, I wouldn't be broke today. If they had practiced, they would be confident now. If you were more careful, you wouldn't have lost your phone. If she were patient, she wouldn't have shouted. If we had worked harder, we wouldn't be struggling now. If I had met her before, I wouldn't be this nervous today. If he were honest, he wouldn't have lied yesterday. If I were taller, I would have joined the basketball team. If they were rich, they would have donated more. If she had woken up early, she would be on time now. If we weren't so busy, we would have visited you. If he weren't lazy, he wouldn't have missed the deadline. If I had finished the course, I would be working now. If they were kind, they wouldn't have hurt her feelings. If I weren't sick, I would have gone to the concert. If she had trusted me, we would still be friends. If we had saved fuel, the car would be running now. If I weren't tired, I would have joined the meeting. If he had told the truth, I wouldn't be upset now. Balanced use of if in sentences. Use. To show cause and effect, choices, plans, or logical balance between two actions or conditions. Structures. If A happens, then B will happen. If not A, then B. If A, then A. If B, then B. If either A or B, then C. If we leave now, then we'll arrive on time. If you don't take the medicine, then your fever won't reduce. If she calls, then I'll speak to her. If it rains, then we'll cancel the picnic. If he apologizes, then I'll forgive him. If we eat too late, then we won't sleep well. If you don't try, then you'll never know. If the traffic is clear, then we'll reach faster. If you touch that wire, then you'll get a shock. If they study hard, then they will pass the exam. If the lights go out, then use the flashlight. If I see him, then I'll give him the message. If it gets colder, then we'll need blankets. If the price drops, then I'll buy it. If you don't respect others, then you won't be respected. If we act quickly, then we can stop the damage. If she smiles, then everything feels better. If we plan well, then the event will be successful. If not today, then maybe tomorrow. If I can help, then let me know. If either of us forgets, then remind the other. If you tell the truth, then there's nothing to fear. If she doesn't eat now, then she'll be hungry later. If you work hard, then success will follow. If this solution fails, then we'll try another one. If questions plus short replies. Use. Used to ask about possibilities, conditions, or hypothetical situations. Can be yes/no questions, WH questions, or indirect questions. Often used in polite, cautious, or imaginative conversation. If it rains tomorrow, will you still go? Yes, I'll take an umbrella. If you had more time, what would you do? I'd learn to play the piano. If she calls, will you answer? Maybe. It depends on the time. If you could meet anyone, who would it be? I'd love to meet R. Rahman. If you lost your job, what would you do? I'd start freelancing. If we invited them, would they come? I think so. They like us. If you see John, can you give him this book? Sure, no problem. If I forgot your birthday, would you be upset? A little, but I'd understand. If the train is late, will we miss the meeting? Probably, yes. If he had studied, would he have passed? Absolutely. If you could go anywhere, where would you go? I'd go to Switzerland. If the power goes out, what should we do? Light the candles. If she had listened, would it have helped? Definitely. If we fail, will you be disappointed? Not really, we tried our best. If you weren't tired, would you join us? Yes, I would. If I pay now, can I get a discount? Yes, 10% off. If they arrive late, should we wait? Let's wait 10 more minutes. If I call you tonight, will you answer? I'll be waiting. If you see a ghost, what would you do? Scream and run. If I lend you the money, will you return it? Of course, I promise. If you didn't eat lunch, are you hungry now? Very hungry. If she had apologized, would you forgive her? Yes, I always forgive. If we don't act now, what might happen? Things will get worse. If I wear this, do I look okay? You look great. If someone gave you $1 million, what would you do? I'd donate and travel. Conversations using if in daily life. 1. At the cafe. A. If it rains, we can sit inside. B. Yeah, but if it stays dry, I'd love to sit outside. A. Sure. If you grab a table, I'll get us some coffee. 2. At work. Manager, if you finish the report early, you can leave by 4 p.m. Employee, great. If I need help, can I ask John? Manager, of course, but if he's busy, check with Priya. 3. Making plans. A. If we go to the beach this weekend, will you come? B. I'll try. If I finish my project by Friday, I'm in. A. Perfect. If not, we'll go next week. 4. At home. Mom, if you clean your room now, you can play later. Child, what if I do it after dinner? Mom. Then no TV tonight. Your choice. 5. On a phone call. A. If you're free tonight, let's watch a movie. B. Sounds good. If I leave work on time, I'll come by 7. A. And if not, we'll plan for the weekend. 6. Job interview. Interviewer, what would you do if a customer were angry? Candidate, I'd listen calmly and try to solve the problem. Interviewer, and if you couldn't fix it? Candidate, I'd inform my supervisor immediately. 7. At the doctor's office. Doctor, if you take these pills regularly, you'll feel better in 3 days. Patient, what if I forget 1 dose? Doctor, then take it as soon as you remember, but don't double it. 8. While studying. A. If we study together, we'll cover more topics. B. True. But if we keep chatting like this, we'll fail. A. Okay. Let's start now. 9. With a friend. A. If I move to another city, will you miss me? B. Of course. But if it's for your dream job, I'll support you. A. Thanks. That means a lot. 10. Shopping. A. If we buy 2, we get 1 free. B. Nice. But if we don't need 3, isn't it a waste? A. Maybe. Let's think. Worksheet, practice with if sentences. Part A, fill in the blanks. Use the correct form of the verb and complete the if sentences. If it blank, rain, we will cancel the trip. She will be happy if you blank, call her. If I had money, I blank, buy a new phone. If they study hard, they blank, pass the exam. If you blank, see him, give him this note. If we had left earlier, we blank, catch the train. I will go to the party if I underscore blank, finish my homework. If she blank, not feel well, she should rest. If the teacher asks, what blank you, say. If I blank, be, you, I wouldn't waste time. Part B, choose the correct option. If I were/was rich, I would travel the world. If she studies, she passes/will pass/passed the test. You'll get cold if you don't wear/didn't wear/not wear a coat. If he had seen her, he would speak/spoke/would have spoken to her. If we had/have/has time, we can help. If I missed/had missed the bus, I'd be late. If you heat ice, it melts/melted/melting. What will you do if she doesn't come/didn't come/won't come? If I were taller, I can/could/will join the basketball team. If they called/call/had called earlier, we could have met. Part C, rewrite the sentences. Rewrite these sentences using if. I didn't know her number, so I couldn't call her. You don't